With deadline approaching, here's how President Trump can buy time to keep Ed Martin in as U.S. Attorney in Washington, D.C. This is an extraordinarily important position, a role that will determine really the future of the administration. That is not hyperbole. If the wrong person is U.S. Attorney in D.C., then a lot of things won't happen. A lot of people won't be held accountable. This is second really only to the Attorney General as far as the administration's ability to prosecute and convict the bad guys in Washington, D.C. So that's why, with the deadline approaching of May 20th to either get him confirmed or not, we have rhinos out there, such as Thom Tillis, who are opposing him. And I'll explain why that's the case, because that may be an even bigger story. I'll explain that afterwards. But first I want to turn to John Fredericks, who is a podcaster. He's a radio host. He's a longtime ally to President Trump, and he has an idea. It's not new, but I think that he expresses it in a way that makes sense. Watch.
So here's how we get Ed Martin back as U.S. District Attorney for Washington, D.C., which is one of the most critical appointments that President Trump has made. So he needs to resign immediately. That way he can get reappointed under the Vacancy Act. That gives him 220 days. When he came in, he had 120 days. He served 110 of them. Now, what happened yesterday or 2 nights ago in the committee is Thom Tillis wouldn't vote for him. I told you that story because of J6. There's a 12-10 majority that Republicans have on the Judiciary Committee. That 12-10, Tillis votes no. That makes it 11-11. He can't get out of committee. He would have lost that vote. No Democrats are going to vote for him. He had lost that vote. He could not then get appointed under the Vacancy Act. What he has to do now is simply resign today or tomorrow, the next day, and then 2 minutes after he resigns, President Trump can then appoint him to acting district attorney, U.S. attorney of the District of Columbia, so he can continue to serve in that role. So he can still be the D.C. U.S. attorney. That's going to be the key. Now, he can serve there under the Vacancy Act for 220 days. I mean, that's 7 months. I mean, that's a long time. Who knows what's going to happen between now and 7 months? In that time, we primary Tillis. We get him a primary opponent. We primary Tillis. Then when he comes back up, then he's going to have to get Tillis votes. If you don't vote for Ed Martin for U.S. attorney, then I'm not going to endorse you. I'm going to endorse your opponent. That's all you have to do. These people, all they do is operate out of fear. This is the most important opportunity that we have to fix the Washington, D.C. district, and you can only do that with Ed Martin as U.S. attorney. So appoint him under the Vacancy Act, 220 days, 7 months, then we'll go from there.
Yes, we will go from there. Now, as far as the primary aspect of it, that's almost secondary. To be clear, the pathway to make this work, to make this happen, is that once you have Ed Martin in there for the next 220 days, then you just remove Thom Tillis from the committee. Right now, it's 12-10 majority for the Republicans. If he doesn't vote in favor of Ed Martin, if he votes against him, that'd be 11-11. It doesn't advance to the Senate floor, and that's what they want to happen. That's what they are so desperate. They being not just Thom Tillis, not just the rhinos, but I really think that this is being driven by the deep state. They are pressuring Tillis, and they will pressure other people such as John Cornyn, Susan Collins. Won't take much pressure. These guys are in self-defense mode. They're terrified of what Ed Martin can do to them, but they're also more terrified about what the deep state can do to them if they don't stop Ed Martin from continuing on as the permanent U.S. attorney. So that's why they're pressuring him. Just get rid of him. Get him out of committee in the next 7 months. Okay, then it's 11-10. Boom, he advances to the Senate floor. And guess what happens? Then the rhinos, the deep state shills in the Republican Party, are going to be forced to make a choice. Either they can expose themselves, and John Cornyn being one of them, he is definitely he's in dire straits for re-election at this point. I would not be shocked if he doesn't retire and announce that he's leaving after this term, because he's getting all he can handle from John Paxton right now. But it's a discussion for another day. Point is that he being Tillis, can be removed. Ed Martin can remain for at least the next 220 days. They push his confirmation until they get their house in order in the Senate, and then they get him through. and then he can start going to work. And I shouldn't say he can start going to work. He's going to work now, and he can continue to go to work doing the job of the people, being the best U.S. attorney possible. Now, here's the alternative. Here's if you want to know just how desperate they are, they being Thom Tillis and John Cornyn and Susan Collins and the deep state and the uniparty swamp. This is how badly they are terrified of Ed Martin. They're willing to let the worst possible person pick his replacement. They are willing to take that sling, and currently they is just Thom Tillis, because he's going to get the full blame if this were to happen. But what happens on May 20th? Well, let's turn to the Independent Sentinel. This is from Maureen Dowling over there. Urgent! The clock is ticking. Boasberg is in the wings. Yes, that Boasberg. Thom Tillis is holding up Ed Martin's nomination. If something isn't done by May 20th, Judge Boasberg could pick the U.S. Attorney for D.C. As we saw with January 6th, this has far-reaching consequences. If the Senate does not confirm an interim U.S. Attorney within 120 days, which that's where we're approaching, judges on the federal district court for the district could name a new interim U.S. Attorney until the role is filled. Trump antagonist Judge James Boasberg, an Obama-appointed judge at the center of legal efforts targeting Trump's deportation efforts, is the chief judge of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. Tillis also worked to block Hakes' nomination. He appears to be a plant for the left, but that's merely my conjecture. Why is he doing this? Tillis had no problem voting for leftist Merrick Garland. And again, what Maureen says is conjecture. I would say we're, 95%? There's maybe a 5% chance that somebody's got dirt on him, or that he's just an idiot, or that he's, there's some personal thing that he's terrified of Ed Martin finding out, or whatever. I don't know. I guess there's 5% chance, but I would say this is 95% chance this is being driven by the deep state or the globalist elite cabal or the uniparty swamp, whatever you want to call them. However you classify the bad guys in D.C. that are trying to usurp President Trump's, and it's not just the Democrats, because Thom Tillis isn't a Democrat, so that one's out. This is deeper than that. This is bigger than just left versus right, bigger than just Democrat versus Republican. This is them versus us. Ed Martin is a fighter for us, and that terrifies them. The biggest challenge with survival food is that it just isn't very good. It doesn't taste very good. It's not very nutritious. The sourcing is questionable. And for a long time, I was really against purchasing a whole bunch of survival food. But a company that I found a few years ago, their food was awesome. It was one of the few that I could actually eat, that my family could eat pretty much normally, just like eating regular food. And it was nutritious, grown from heirloom seeds and all that good stuff. I was super impressed with my good friends at Heaven's Harvest. I have since reconnected with them. We still have their buckets of food in my pantry, but I thought, let's see what they're doing. And they said, hey, let's partner together. So we did. So you can go to jdrucker.com/food, jdrucker.com/food. By going there, it will automatically put in the promo code for the discount that you'll receive at Heaven's Harvest. So check it out. See what sort of foods they have, and see what you like there. Because I can assure you this, compared to other survival foods, this is like super gourmet awesome.